G'day, mate. Welcome to Friday Facts 323 Animated Water. Well, the late edition of the Friday Facts, I guess, is probably the better way of putting it, because we're running behind time. But we've got Animated Water, and I've got Mojo with me. Hey, you mate.
Not even animated Mojo this time.
Nah. Look, he says this time. I went away this weekend, and I pre-planned, and I took a laptop, I took the microphone, took the headphones, took everything with me away so I could do the Friday Facts, because he was streaming. By the time he was done, I was already in a hotel room 4 hours away from home.
It's lofty ambitions of recording it still on a Saturday.
Yeah, and it failed. The hotel, no, the mobile internet was so bad that I tried the hotel Wi-Fi, which was better. It was actually amazingly better. And then the laptop crapped out on us twice. So it became the Sunday Friday Facts. Because,
yes,
it's
which
Sunday.
is where we're at now.
Yeah, so we've got water animations. And this is in 3 parts. And I first read this when it came out at like 4 a.m. Saturday morning, because that's when it comes out for us. And 3 a.m., 4 a.m., really stupidly early in the morning. And I read it, and I understood the first half of this whole Friday Facts, and I got to the second half, and it's either I don't understand it or 4 a.m. kicked in, one or the other. So come along for the ride with us. So, water animation. So, since the very beginning of the project, they've focused a lot on the side of the factory as far as graphics is concerned, providing better designs for the machines, expressive animations, giving a sense of life and credibility in the area of the factory. And they've also put a lot of effort in the environment side, adding different tile sizes, because if anybody remembers back to Factorio 14, 13, I guess?
13 or 14 or older.
Yeah, one bit of green grass was the same as every other bit of green grass.
Yeah, every tile was one tile.
Yeah, and now you've got like 4 tile combinations, 8 tile combinations. You've got bigger, I think 8 tiles is about as big as they go, but they've only got different details over some of the 8x8 square. But it breaks up the monotony of grasslands forever or desert forever. I guess
I'm pretty sure there's a fifth about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is, and there's your complimentary.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, they've done that a long time ago, but they're constantly improving things. And another thing they've added is the doodads, the cliffs, the trees have got redone, and they're actually going to get redone again with the whatever they called it, the bright shiny Factorio that shall be coming with version 18, where we get purple and blue trees. So they've been working on sort of the graphics of Factorio for a while, and I think 15. If you look at 15 compared to now, Factorio looks the same. It's just now it looks a lot higher quality.
16 onwards, it's looked pretty consistent. 15, you start to getting into really different looking territory, and then 14 and older,
things just look massively different.
Just look alien.
Yeah, like trains with a big one. The old trains compared to the current trains, there is a massive difference. Old train track compared to current train track, same. There's a massive difference. You can really see where Factorio has made big leaps and bounds in the way the graphics look, whereas really in the last 1 or 2 major versions, it's looked fairly consistent, just more polish, more high defness, more sharpness to everything.
Actually, 15 introduced a lot of high-res icons in the build menu.
Was that 15 or 16? I thought that was 16.
A lot of them came in 15, but more have been a bit added since.
There you go. So today they're doing their first experiment in the area of animated water. The animation doesn't try to grab your attention, it's just there slowly moving. I personally bet this animation with a proper sound design will provide the natural feeling that the planet needs. So if we look at the water, and I have no idea how well this is going to come out under YouTube compression. I will say that up first, because honestly, it's really, really subtle. Super, super subtle. And I think
possibly a little bit too subtle.
Well, that's what they were really going for, because there's further images down where it's not subtle and it's too much, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like a raging torrent in a little stream, like a raging ocean.
Yeah, and like honestly, when I first saw this, it reminded me of the clouds, and I don't know if they have the clouds. Like, I can't see the clouds or anywhere over the desert that they've got. So I'm willing to bet they've turned the clouds off, but it really looks like the same similar animation they have for the clouds, which a lot of people don't even realize are there in the background, and they sort of provide some sort of animation and life to the terrain, and I think the water will really, really help as well. Just something small, but it is going to bring out the fact that the trees don't move. The trees
they're completely stationary.
move. Yeah. So, fix one thing, made a new problem. Anyway, so now we have the technical part by Aaron and Staz. Yeah. So animation is one of the most powerful creative tools they have. It's how they communicate with the audience about functionality. It creates interesting emotions. Let's talk about water. And a lot of people have probably noticed that the water in Factorio currently is static. And it's weird static. It has foam in the waves, even like hard up against the coast or in the middle of a lake. It has reflections, which are a little bit harder to notice. But again, they're static. They're wherever they happen to be. They're just static. They're there. And I guess everybody's just got used to that. Nobody's really questioned it.
Usually because people are pouring landfill over it, so you don't really see it.
Yeah, good point. Good point. The lake's in the way. We're just going to landfill the whole thing. But back in 2018, so a year ago, he decided to gift himself with the problem of solving water animation in secret. So based on the conversations Siri had for Albert, the goal was clear: to have it look similar to the current water. Photorealism was a big no-no. It had to be super cheap on the GPU because, let's be honest, Factorio is not really a high-resolution game. It's you can run it on a pocket calculator, provided your pocket calculator's got a decent screen. Let's be honest. My little laptop that would not run OBS and a microphone and a set of headphones can run Factorio without an issue.
Can it run Doom?
Doom 1? Yes, it can.
I only thought of it because I saw a video pop up of Doom running on a digital camera.
Oh, wow! On a digital camera. Oh. So, for those of you who don't know, I think we've covered on a previous Friday Facts, Doom is one of those games that modders have got into because they've got access to the source code and they literally try and get it to run on everything. And there's a whole community dedicated to having Doom run on everything. Digital camera is a new one.
As seen previously on ATMs, TI-83 graphics calculators, the list goes.
Yeah. Doom on everything. So yeah, back to the Friday Facts. So Emestez was experimenting with this cheap cloud shader, which is probably why the moving water reminds me of the clouds, except the clouds, funnily enough, all the clouds go from top left to bottom right, irrespective of which direction the wind's going. The clouds move in one direction, and the water goes from bottom right to top left. So he used fractal Bowen motion, and only sampled thing. So this is the part, like the second half of all these Friday Facts subsections. I'm not going to understand things.
Yeah, like the first part's like, oh yeah, that's very simple. And now we're into the second part. It's like, yeah, now it's starting to get technical, and then the third part is going to be like, what?
Yeah, pretty much. No, I gleaned some information from the third part. Yeah. So yeah, he used fractal Bowen motion and sampled a noise texture instead of the usual approach of calculating Perlin noise. Now, Perlin noise I recognize because that's the thing that ore generation and map generation uses.
Yeah, all of the map generation uses that. Anything that needs to be random uses the Perlin noise.
Yeah, which I only recognize because it's been covered in a previous Friday Facts. I have no idea what it is, but I know it's Perlin noise. So yeah, with a low iteration count, it's almost as cheap as drawing a sprite, which is really important. So I started mono game and implemented the tile-based world using the same technique for the shader. The only difference being I clamped the noise values to simulate brighter and darker areas, and for the noise I used their water sprite. So we have the original, the noise, and then a clamp version. So as far as I can see, it's just additive, one together to sort of give a bit more life to the actual water tile or the water sprite. The water sprite, I guess, would be more accurate.
Yeah, what a sprite.
Yeah. To save on GPU power, the water was drawn as the same as tiles, one after other. Position was easy to solve too. He used UV coordinates to represent the game position wheel. With some trial and error, the water was recreated with a moving effect. And this is the part where you're going, yeah, that's a little bit too fast.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Just zooming along a little bit there.
Yeah, if you're standing in the middle of like C block, you're probably going to get seasick. Very quickly. On your starting island. Yeah. So, at the beginning of 2019, I pitched the prototype to the team. Sadly, it was not really accepted most because of the movement. However, I sat down with Albert and tweaked some values for some more appealing ones. After that, we basically forgot about it. Half a year passed, that solution was back on the table. And I had to solve reflections, foam, transparency, out-of-map transitions, and some other stuff. So, only 5 things left to go. Yeah, the hard work.
Easy. Five simple things.
5 simple things. So, solving reflections, transparency, and foam resulted in using a render to target to save information for the water shader. Render target is just a texture on which you can draw using 3 channels, RGB, and are able to save 3 kinds of information. Red for reflections, green for transparency, and blue for foam. After drawing, all drawing is additive to account for multiple tiles drawing on top of each other. This way we're able to add information not only for the shore, but also for entities. And this is what their demo shows. And honestly, I have no idea what this means. I can see this red, I can see this blue, I can see this green, I can see this purple, which is obviously red and blue. But I can't see how the left-hand side of the picture interfaces with the right-hand side of the picture at all.
That's sort of a side-by-side. Well, we got the red there, which is, what was that? That's the reflections. Then we've got the green, which is the transparency, and then the blue for all the foam. So there's transparency on the foam, and then there's purple on the red for transparency as well. No, that's foam, more foam.
Yeah, but it's one of those, like, the picture on the left is different to the picture on the right.
Probably the biggest thing that's most noticeable is where there's actually foam, there's not nearly as much foam where the blue is.
Yeah, but the picture on the left is still pictures that are different to the picture on the right. I want a picture on the left, and I want to see the exact same picture on the right that this time has water on it. Because, like, I can...
No, you know what you need is the thing with the scroll bar.
The thing with the scroll bar, yeah, that'd be perfect, but it's animated, so I don't know whether that'd work, but...
Probably doesn't work when it's animated.
Look, I can see the foam around the shoreline on the right-hand side picture, and it looks good. It looks animated. It looks like everything lines up. I have no idea about the reflections, or what was the other thing they added? RGB, reflections, transparency, and blue for foam. I don't know about the transparency or the foam, but or the reflections. But I can definitely see the foam. The foam looks great. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave that one.
When they say reflections, do you mean actual reflections or just shadow, drop shadow?
I think it's just drop shadow, because like I don't see like the concrete. I don't see a reflection of the concrete at all.
Yeah, you just see the drop shadow.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is why, like, whatever picture's on the left, I want to see the exact same picture on the right with the water filled in so I can compare apples to apples rather than apples to bananas to oranges. Anyway. Yeah, for our outer map, we updated our jelly feeling with waves on top. Basically, we left the old graphics on the bottom and added animation, the animated water on top. For cutting, masking out of the water where we want it, I used another shader and with the generated green waves in the water render a target. Now, some of you might ask why we didn't use a waterfall. It would... it would look nice having a waterfall into this pitch black hole of nothing. The reason is waterfall was the first thing we tried, and we concluded the jelly looks better and cleaner. And I don't see it. Like, I don't see how a waterfall could not look better than what they've come up with. Just honestly.
I imagine all of those faces would have a waterfall.
Foam,
that would be a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of rendering stuff too.
It is, but it's for an outer map area, which honestly you're only gonna see if you're playing like a ribbon world.
Yeah, or a campaign map.
Or in a campaign map, sure. You know, anything with a fixed height and a fixed width, and the water happens to cross the edge of the map. That's the only time you're going to see it. So it's not something that's going to show up too often, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But it's just one of those small details that, like, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen a waterfall. It probably doesn't help that I've just recently watched the Thor movies, and you know the Thor planet Asgard, whatever it is, has all the waterfalls going off the edge, and
oh yeah.
Look, I would have liked to have seen a waterfall, or at least shown us what the waterfall pitch was, because that's sort of what's the whole theme of the Friday Facts, that they, you know, they show us this and they say, we did choose not to go for this for all these reasons, and we did this instead. And 9 times out of 10, people agree, like, you know, it was for performance reasons, or it just didn't look good, or whatever. And the community normally agrees with most of those decisions. There's been a couple of ones where the community's gone, nope, like Research Queue, and the devs have listened, and then they've come back and they've added Research Queue after the fact. So yeah, it's. I would have liked to have seen a waterfall. Honestly, even the pre-concept version that needed more polish, whatever it happened to be. This wavy effect is nice. It sort of tiles in elegantly with what they've got, but just the black depth of nothing, I'm not a fan of. Just saying.
I don't mind it.
So then we have the game integration by Priscilla. So Priscilla, the god of black code, got the job of trying to get this to work in the game. And
the actual programming. Now, this is where your head starts hurting.
Yes. And it's sort of interesting, tells you a little bit how the game works. So for a long time, in order to make the terrain rendering fast, we keep an off-screen buffer with terrain that was rendered in the previous frame, and then reuse it to render the terrain in the current frame. Because, like, well, you're getting 60 frames per second, and of that 1 second, you're probably looking at the exact same terrain for most of it, because you're standing in the middle of the base building a belt or putting down inserters or whatever. It's not changing all that much unless the character's moving. If the player's view didn't change at all, we'd use the off-screen buffer as is. If the player moved, we would shift the buffer accordingly and render just the bits that were not visible before. So if you moved in between frames, like, I don't know, what's a character move? Like 1 or 2, 3 or 4 tiles, depending on movement speed. You're only going to be rendering the terrain for those new 4 or 5 tiles down the left or the right or the top or the bottom parts of the screen. Everything else stays the same, which means they can save a massive amount on what the video card has to work out what to render anew. It could just repeat the same frames for some parts of the game over and over and over. So, zooming or changing tiles in the view would invalidate the content of the off-screen buffer, and the terrain would have to be re-rendered for the entire view. But this only happens in a fraction of frames, so it's not a big problem. Zooming around your map is really bad, really taxing on the game.
It's going to make the renderer work harder, which is going to drop your UPS.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially, if you're closer to that limit, it might push you further over that limit. You may have noticed this optimization is incompatible with rendering animated tiles. So the initial integration...
Yes.
The initial... No, I can't do it.
Integration.
Yeah, that word. It's Sunday. Of Emerson water effect, I had to force a full redraw every frame, which is bad. Like I said, Factorio will run on a potato as long as it's got a screen. So, something like that would make a massive performance issue for the graphics card. And Factorio is one of those games you can definitely run on integrated graphics cards without an issue. Whatever your motherboard can output video-wise, that's good enough for Factorio. This created a massive performance problem as the tile renderer prepare step would take 3 milliseconds, almost 1/5 of the total frame time when zoomed out. Why does that matter? And this is the important part. So the main game loop runs in 3 major stages. So the update, it progresses the game state 1 tick forward. It prepares the render, collects all of the data that's needed to render the current view, and then render it uses collected data to issue commands to the GPU. And that's happening 60 times every second, which also means that it has to happen in less than, 16.6 milliseconds for this to happen and you to see it on screen.
Yeah.
Whilst the update and renderer are executed in parallel, so the update is actually processing the next tick, whilst the renderer is showing you this tick. Yeah. So they do have a little bit over 16 milliseconds they can go through. It means 3 milliseconds less can be spent in update before the update rate drops below 60. And I don't even want to mention how much time it would take in debug build. I could just say I'd expect a lot of nasty looks from co-workers. Luckily, I've already had an idea how to solve this. The water animation depends only on global time, and the vertex data of water tiles doesn't change in between frames. So instead of caching the finished terrain render in a texture, we can cache the data resulting from the prepare render, and then we call draw orders. To make this work, cache draw orders per chunk, and we only prepare render on chunks that have just entered the player's view and weren't in the cache already. So I don't understand any of that paragraph. How you doing, Mojo?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I believe what they're doing is they're caching a lot of the water renders. They're caching everything else, and they're just preparing the water renders separately. Yeah. I think that's what this next 3 paragraphs is saying. Yeah. The only other important thing is the water effect is relatively cheap. Some of our players play the game on weak hardware, like a pocket calculator, which already struggles with the current state of the game. So we need to add an option to turn the effect off and essentially revert back to the old behavior. Initially, I thought we'd even use the old water sprites because we had to change the tile transition definitions. The old water would look really bad. I decided to always render the water using the new effect, but if you disable the animation, it'll render frozen in time and we cache the off-screen buffer. So yeah, if you're still running on a potato, you can get, I guess, water that would look different every single time you loaded the game. Because that's the only time it would render, that very first tick. And then it'd just be saved statically and you'd see that forever. On the same time, they also optimize the game, so they're keeping the off-screen buffer logic around. We could utilize it for everyone if possible. He added a flag to cached per chunk draw tile orders that determine if a chunk contains a dynamic effect and therefore needs to be re-rendered each frame if the animation is enabled, or can reuse pixels from the previous frame. This means when rendering chunks without any water, e.g. the middle of Factory, the new water effect will have no impact on performance. And then lastly, we come into modding. So they have enabled all this for the next build, which I imagine this is probably going to be in version 18. They didn't really specify.
Yeah.
Because
they haven't specified, but there may still be a chance it might come in the next one of the next updates.
Yeah, when we get 17
or the next update,
8.0 or 8.1, or they haven't established whether we're going to continue with 17 and do more experimentals of 17 and hold the things they're holding off for 18, or whether they're just like, nope, 17 is done, we're good with it, we're not doing anything else, it's stable now, we're going to start pushing towards 18 now for those few things that are going to break mods, and then keep going from there. So yeah, they did say, for modding purposes, if you get excited about the possibilities for modding the water, don't just yet. The system has been set up for making it possible to define different tile effects, but at the moment it's limited just to one, which they're using for their water effect. He plans to lift this restriction in the near future, but at the end you'll be limited to only choosing the properties of the effect that they've made. Still might be interesting enough due to the ability to change the noise texture, so all the way back up to our 3 pitches, the white one being the noise. You could change the noise. I don't know. I'm wondering, could you add like whirlpools in there and have lots of tile whirlpools?
Yeah, have like a whirlpool where a kraken comes out of.
Yeah,
just randomly eats your base.
Yeah, but
or a Bugzilla comes out of.
I think it'd be for every water tile, not just.
Yeah. That's true.
So I don't know what possibilities there will be for the modders, because they're only limiting it to just one, and only being able to change the properties for the effect that they've made. So yeah, it still might be interesting enough due to the ability to change the noise texture, but there's no plan to support custom shaver definitions before 1.0. So if you're planning on modding this, think hard, think long, and sit around and wait patiently till after, what is it, Feb 30 next year? Or
Yeah,
September
Feb
something
30,
next year?
2029.
Yeah. 9 months, 23 days, 19 hours, 4 minutes, and 53 seconds. That's when version 1.0 comes out. So, sit around, wait for a little while. Eventually it'll get here. Maybe they'll give you options. Maybe you can make a Whirlpool and a Kraken. Maybe not. That's pretty much it for this Friday Facts. Yes, Mojo, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Assuming I think everyone's brains are melted now.
Everybody's brains have melted, but I want to add one more thing. So our good friend Dr. Doof posted something the other day, earlier this week. So he had a problem with the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution was a mod that was featured, a while back on the Friday Facts.
Yeah, got its little go a while back, and I think it sort of disappeared now, and everyone stopped caring because everyone's having to go. No, I haven't heard of anyone really finishing it.
No, look, I remember Psy from Factorio MMO. He played it. He played it. He spoke to the dev, got permission like day one, and the dev was more than happy for him to play it. And he streamed it. It went up on YouTube. The whole works, not an issue. Dr. Doof didn't touch it during that period, waited till Deadlock changed the licensing agreement from what it was to the exact same licensing we have for Bob's, Angels, all that sort of stuff, and then did a series with Industrial Revolution at that time. And then got a letter from Deadlock to cease and desist, basically.
Okay, so he actually did get a cease and desist from it.
Yeah, he basically got the mod owner said, I don't want you streaming my mod at all. I don't want you streaming my mod because you have you are on Twitch and you have a monetized Twitch stream. But like every single stream on Twitch is technically monetized.
Yeah, and
the
thing is that, like, I think there's a few angles going. Like, he's sunk so much time into it. He now wants to be paid for it. But I have a feeling he kind of gets that, like, he can't just collect money for it because strictly speaking, you can't collect money from a mod.
Yeah, we went through this when it first showed up in the original Friday Facts. You cannot. As a modder, you cannot get paid for your mod. The only way that you can get paid from your mod is if you do enough modding to a game where you actually approach the devs and get their permission to branch off and create a whole new paid-for game that is built on their engine featuring your work.
Yeah, and like the license and the engine's licensed out to from the original development. An example of that would...
Counter-Strike?
Yeah.
Counter-Strike's the
Half-Life Engine.
Yeah.
I was going to say Unreal Engine originally. I was like, hang on, that's a bad idea because I'm pretty sure they have a funny license agreement.
Yeah, look,
this is weird.
Easiest one is Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike was originally a mod, and then...
It was original Half-Life Engine, that one.
Yeah, it was originally a Half-Life mod, and then eventually got big enough that I think Counter-Strike 1.6 or 2.0, whatever it was, actually became its own game with a licensed copy of the engine where, some percentage of the sales all go back to Valve, for licensing their engine. And Deadlock, in theory, could do the same if he made a large enough mod that he had enough support that he could release Industrial Revolution 2.0 and speak to Woo beforehand and get their permission and then have a standalone game and charge $10 on Steam for all he cared.
Yeah, could package it as his own game on Steam or package it as a DLC under license on behalf of Woob.
Yeah, both are perfectly reasonable options. But yeah, I'm trying to, and this is what it really comes back to me. Like, for me, it's no, I'm happy for anybody out there to play it. But if you happen to be part of this very small population, being a content creator either on YouTube or on Twitch, I don't want you playing my game where anybody else might see it. All right? And that's what it really comes down to. And for me, right from square one, that's really an issue. It's almost discrimination. It's not quite, because it's going against a career choice, I guess. But, you know, if somebody turned around and said, if you're black, you can't play my mod, that would straight away be just like,
oh, yeah.
Sorry, your mod's off the mod portal, deleted. Your account's been gone. You can play Factorio because we're probably not going to take that away from you, but you can never upload another mod ever. The fact that he's just picked just a minority, and that's really what it is in the thousands.
He has a thing against YouTube and Twitch and that whole sort of spectrum in general.
Yeah, and it's funny because like Deadlock's mods, even though he doesn't run them anymore, Deadlock's Loaders is actually a mod that I'm running in my current Bite of Hell series. Deadlock doesn't run them anymore, but his name's still attached. He is the original creator, but like he doesn't have anything to do with the mod anymore. He's moved on and does other things.
Yeah, it's interesting. He didn't have any problem with it with those mods because there are little things. That's why I think that he's sunk so much time into it. Now he regretting. I think he has that. I can't think of what best describes that sort of. When you sink so much time into it, you don't want to let it go for free.
Yes, that
Even though streaming, it doesn't really collect anything in terms of revenue, and YouTube and all that doesn't collect really that much.
No, I can say my YouTube for this month pays my internet bill. And it's been that way for 6 months. It pays for my internet. Actually, let's go one better. If YouTube will load, yes, Australian internet. It pays for my high quality Australian internet. Quite publicly, that's my revenue for last month. $139.45, roughly. All right.
Yeah, that's about like 90 to 100 would be an internet bill.
My internet bill's $100. You know, November, December are very, very high for advertisers. All right, so it is a better month, but then January and February are shit. Because, hey, it's Christmas, so lots of people are spending money on ads. Lo and behold, I do better this month and last month. I'm not going to do so well in January and February.
It evens out once you average it.
So I make about $100 a month off. I don't know how many hours I put up video every week. It's 2 videos a day, half hour each, at least an hour, 30 days of the month. So I'm working at a bare minimum. If you ignore editing time, anything else I do above and beyond, I'm working a 60-hour week, and I'm making, call it $120. I'm making $2 an hour. Yeah. No, $2 per... Yeah, $2 per hour. Yep. That's
now per thing.
Yep. That's amazing. $2 per hour for a month. That's not... Yeah. It's really bad. Anyway, I just thought we'd add on this. Doof has obviously decided he's not going to continue with his Industrial Revolution, and I don't blame him. When you do sink the amount of hours we sink into these sort of ventures, having somebody come and threaten all sorts of things threatens your livelihood. And I don't know, like, if you're doing something with your hands, like you're a bricklayer, and you have somebody come along and threaten to cut off one of your hands, you generally stop doing whatever it is that it was pissing them off in the first place. And Deadlock's essentially done something similar to Doof. So Doof said he's not going to play it anymore. He's not going to stream it anymore. He has put the map up for his followers who were playing with him to continue out the game if they want to continue playing it. But yeah, he had a hard time deciding what to do. And like I said, I don't blame him at all.
It's true. But at the same time, I kind of hate it because it means Deadlock win. in that case.
It does.
Because he
It
gets to
does.
bully people
It does.
into doing what he wants.
Unfortunately, with the way Twitch and YouTube are, which I understand they are, it's a catch-22. If on the Woob's website, and if I'm lucky, I can find it. They actually have a link where you can go and get a flat outright, press page. Guidelines. Monetized videos are all right. Always include a link to the game website and possibly future information about the free demo, price, alpha, blah blah blah. Just a general guideline. Factorio is a slow-paced game in the beginning. If you're making a first look preview video, please consider playing the game yourself for some time. A couple of hours should give you a good overview of what the game's really about, and also some experience. That's it. Woob is really, really nice that they have a blank on their webpage. Monetized videos are all right. This is something as a YouTuber I need to check before I start playing games, to at least have my ass covered to say, hey, no, the devs have said I can play their game. Unfortunately, I still get hit with copyright claims on music occasionally, because in the opening credits, end credits, even the in-game music, the game developer hasn't got exclusive rights on the music they're using, so I get blasted with a, Sony Pictures or Sony Music wishes to take all your money for this video because you happen to use a bit of music in the background. As far as Woob's concerned, you can do anything you want with Factorio, and they give you open rights to. Twitch should be the same story because you have that written on Woob's website. As for Deadlock, I don't know whether he's got a leg to stand on.
No, generally no, when it comes to modders.
Yeah.
I've been through that before.
Yeah, so, Doof could fight it. Whether he wants to is a whole different question. And unfortunately...
Not being a partner is probably not got as much leverage as a Twitch partner would, unfortunately. Yeah,
and like I said, it risks your livelihood. Well, yeah, your livelihood, because streaming is what he does full time. He's the same as me. He's a full-time father and a as full-time as often as possible content creator. And everything works around, fatherly duties first. So, yeah, I don't blame him not wanting to fight it. It's unfortunate that, Deadlock just automatically has an I win button because nobody wants to challenge it up until now. We'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, I said at the start, I'm not touching it with a barge pole. I've had a couple of people in my community actually ask whether I'm going to do a series after the licensing change. I said, nope, still not going to touch it with a barge pole. And then I actually had one of my community members put up a community server in my Discord that had Industrial Revolution, and I meant to have a look and didn't get a chance. But yeah, everybody else is free to play it, but I'm not, basically. I'm free to play it, but I can't stream it, which is, unfortunate. Anyway.
Kind of tempted to play it just to piss him off.
Look, I'd love to see it. I would definitely be there. If you're curious, the links to Mojo's stream are always down in the description below. Go to Twitch, go follow Mojo. He won't be streaming this weekend coming because I did the hotel room this weekend. He's doing the hotel room next weekend.
Hotel room next weekend, yeah.
Yep. So the weekend after that, possibly.
Factorio extended. As I say, I'd like to do it just to annoy him, but at the same time, it's kind of an average mod anyway. It's not that good.
From what I've heard, it's very, very slow early game.
It is very slow, and there's a lot of really bizarre design choices.
Yeah, and it has a lot of intermediates in it, and the graphics are high quality.
I don't understand why you feed 8 copper into a smelter to smelt 8. Was it 8 or 12?
I have no idea.
It's basically 1-to-1. One goes in, one comes out, but you have to feed in 8 or 12 to then smelt 12 out. It makes no sense.
Less flips of... No. I was going to say less flips the inserter, but that doesn't work.
It's just using craft numbers for the sake of using crafting numbers.
Yeah,
really.
You'd have less flips the inserter on the output, possibly.
You would, in that case. Kinda.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
But you don't actually, like, it's something that I have given a little bit of thought, but never actually tested. I might test it one, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't really change anything. Or maybe it would for bots going out into a provider chest.
Yeah, not really. Because, like, bots will pick up, like, if they only need one, they're going to pick up whatever their stack size carry is.
Oh,
So if
yeah, so
that's
they're just going to
3,
trade it off. So
it's
they're
going
going
to
to take.
carry 3, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to take 3, even though if they only need 1, so they're
Yeah.
going to need to put it back somewhere.
Yeah, then they end up taking the excess to storage, or they actually dump it in the requested chest if it's a requested chest. If the requested chest is full and capped, then they take the excess and go dump it in storage. So it would only be the flipping in the inserter, but normal inserters don't have a stack size of 8. Stack inserters have a stack size of 12, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
When they're fully maxed.
Yeah, so... Maybe... I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played with the mod. I'm not planning on touching it. Not with the original licensing agreement. Not with the updated license agreement. Now, I've seen Doof's been thrown under the bus about it. I'm just not touching it with a barge pole. It's just not worth it. Which unfortunately means what was a highly anticipated mod that actually got featured in Friday Facts, which is really, really rare.
That's like the pinnacle of achievement there.
Yeah. Has basically disappeared. Everybody played it for a month, but like everybody played the space exploration mod for a month because it was really, really good. And then nobody played it anymore. Everybody played Factorio when it first came out for about a month, and then it disappeared because, everybody had their fill of it. Industrial Revolution possibly had more legs in it, but just because that licensing thing, you're not seeing streamers and YouTubers play it just disappears. And unfortunately, I look at how many new mods get released every week, and my Discord is very, very active with users that link to brand new mods that have been out for a couple of days, a couple of hours, a week, a month, whatever it happens to be. And there's 4 or 5 really good quality mods, or really good concept quality mods, that come out every single week. I don't get a chance to look at all of them, but with the sheer number of mods coming out, if you want somebody to remember your mod a month later, it's got to be really, really good quality. It has to really improve the game or change the game, and yeah, a lot of them don't. They pop up as a game-changing mod. They're good for a month until people get their fill of them and then never touch them again. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit sad to see, and yeah, like I said, until some fix comes about the licensing, I'm not touching with barge pole. It's just not worth it. Anyway, I think that's it for Sunday Facts, or yes, Factorio Sunday Facts 323 with a little bit of bonus thrown on top. Anything else, Major?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. Right.
Even the rain stopped.
Even the rain stopped. Wow, that's impressive. All right, we went so long the rain stopped. I'm going to call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.